interesting too, looking back with Fila Fresh Crew, because with Dunk the Funk in particular, I remember hearing it at the time and feeling this way, but I wanted to get your insight. Sonically, in particular, it had a little bit of the electro sound that the LA was known for, but it also had the harder slaps like Houdini and different things had production wise. So to me, it was like a hybrid of sorts, but it also was one of those records in the late 1980s that really signified the sonic change that was coming. So for you, did you what did you feel or get from Dunk the Funk when you were making it, when you were hearing it and all that, from the production in particular?
We made that at Lonzo's house, so that's why it sounded like
World Class Wrecking Crewish.
that's why it sounded like. And bro, I was just along for the ride, bro. I was fresh out of Dallas, just rapping, trying to figure it out, and blessed to be in that space. Thankful and grateful to Dr. Rock for taking me up there and introducing me to those guys. I don't even think I met Dre then. It was just Lonzo and those other guys. And I didn't meet Dre till he came to Dallas with Eazy.
Right. Okay. And the other song from that era that I'm familiar with the most is the Drink It Up. And with that one sounded to me like a Bobby Jimmy / Two Live Crewish frat cover parody type of record, which is very different from most everything you've worked on, if not totally every different thing you've worked on. So how and why did that end up happening the way it did?
Bro, I told you I was along for the ride. They said, let's do this. I said, okay, let's do this, And I would write the song. It's been like that the whole time. But that's kid shit. You talking about my first 1, 2, 3, 4 records ever made. That's the first one. That's crazy. But I'm thankful and grateful, bro, for that experience. And I didn't even know. Hey. Bro.
Like what? Who was that?
Hello.
No, you have to go in. Go. I gotta finish what I'm doing. Get your TV and shut the door. You already said.
All good. Obviously, we'll edit that out for you.
No, man, you should keep that. One thing I think that when we get it wrong most of the time is how important shit like that really is. People need to.
I see you got the cards right there in your hands too.
People see that it's all about us, bro. If we don't love on us, who the fuck gonna do it? You can't keep fighting every goddamn body all the goddamn time. That just leads to more dying. These niggas out here killing the fuck out of each other for nothing. The whole dollar bills that won't be worth shit in 2-3 years against their head. Like you have to begin to impart into these brothers. I respect you, but that's not it. That's not it. We got to figure this out because I want you to get the money. I want you to get to there, but that's not it.
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, but to your point too, quote unquote, back in our day, remember it was somebody stepped on your shoes or somebody bumped into you at the club. Now it's evolved into what it is now. So
yeah. So we should realize that that's where we are, and as a group of people begin to take those steps to correct it, because you're a leader. You're a leader. If you lead, they'll follow. But you have to be consolidated. It can't just be one guy who looks great doing some shit. It has to be everybody doing things. Some guy named Ali, something. He was doing an interview and the guy was crying because he said a lot of these folks talking about getting these things better in the streets. And there's folks out there that's really doing the work and nobody's talking to them or talking about them or highlighting them. They're waiting for the stars to do it, you know? And that's just so unfortunate, bro. Like, we got to do better than that. We got to get out of here as the stars. I mean, that's what you want to call it. Get out there and do whatever little you can on whatever level you can to get in this message and get out there and get these boys together. Because whether they know it or not, they are all they have. You know?
Well, I tell my daughter all the time, no one's going to be with you 100% of the time except you. So you got to be comfortable with yourself, and then you got to be comfortable with those around you, because I wish I could be with you 100%, but it's not going to happen. So so that brings me to some very interesting questions that have directly tied into this. So I grew up in Maryland, right in between Baltimore and D.C. So when I was growing up, we had Black mayor in Baltimore, Kurt Schmoke. We had a Black mayor in D.C. with Marion Barry. So for me, it was nothing to see Black men in particular in positions of power. A lot of my school teachers were Black women, several of them throughout elementary school and middle school and high school. And I had Black men as well. And it also wasn't foreign for me to see lots of Black professional people, which I didn't live in the hood. I didn't live in a crazy environment that way, but I was exposed to that my whole life from infant. So my question to you is, why do you think from our childhood till today that there is this disconnect of the thousands of Black accountants, the thousands of Black lawyers, the thousands of Black school teachers, all these Black professionals that since before we were even born have been so successful in helping the community and being great parents, being community leaders, being neighborhood leaders, even if they're not elected, just being neighborhood figures. Why do you think there's the disconnect of understanding and appreciating that? And like you said, so many people on the flip side are waiting for the stars to align. They're waiting for Superman, like that movie shows. They're like, why do you think there's such that disconnect a lot of the time?
Oh, bro, I don't want to get too philosophical about it. You know what I mean? Well, from my perspective, I'm concerned about where we're at right now and where we're going. Right? Like, the situation we find ourselves in, I think is of our own making in a lot of ways. And so self-reflection, and really, like I said, putting our heads together and figuring out what's best for these babies and making those moves. That one guy being great is cool, but if all of us work together at doing what's great for us all, then it's hard to verbalize it, man, because it's so layered. But the division amongst us is just something that I'm just really disgusted with. Like, that shit should be so dead. That era should be so over for me. And believe me, I think it is, or I wouldn't be saying it. I think it's bubbling. It's a lot of things that are different from when we were young and doing it. There are a lot of voices out there that may be radical or erratic, but they solid. And last but not least, like I said, I'm a God guy. So if it happens, there's a purpose for it. And at the end of the day, it's all going to be for the best. Like, if I'm looking at my own experience as hip hop, what I thought was the worst was just training ground for what's about to be the best. You get my point?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember one thing I always heard when I've been around him, I've heard him say it many times, is Dr. Dre. It gets greater later. So, you know, there it is. As far as some rap stuff, I still wanted to ask you about too. On Eazy-Duz-It was still talking. I know you worked on that song in particular too. And with that, I was very surprised because as a kid growing up in Maryland, I didn't know what Compton was, where it was, or anything. And on the song, as I was learning about Compton, that also says Compton, Michigan. So I was so confused of what Compton is, where it is. Is it in Michigan? Is it in California? Is it near Los Angeles? Is it near Detroit? Do you remember why you guys said Compton, Michigan?
That was Dre, bro. And I think he was just being stupid. I don't know if it's a Compton, Michigan or not. I think he was just, trying to be funny.
Okay, because I was very,
Like, I don't know.
I haven't looked it up still to today, but I was always curious.
No, that was a good day, man. Still Talking was a great song. We had fun that day.
And with Eazy in particular, I've always found it odd, and someone that helped him and worked with them creatively and was around them so much, because people always say, oh, he wasn't an artist and he was very reluctant to be an artist and all that. How and why do you think that that light switch flipped to where he was so charismatic on record compared to the perception or how people talk about him as like, oh, he didn't want to be an artist, he was so quiet. Like, why?
That was before I got there. By the time I got there, he was all in. He wanted all the good shit he can get his hands on. To get out there and rap it. He loved it.
Okay. Well, it definitely is clear. Okay. So with parental discretion is advised with on Straight Out Compton, of course, that's another great collaboration. But how or why did you do it to where you made it like really an ad of sorts for your album and your lyrics?
You'll notice that on Straight Outta Compton, you don't hear me nowhere else. On Eazy, on Eazy's album, you don't hear me nowhere on it. I had to wait a long time just to say something. And so that was just my way of saying, watch out.
Okay. And two, with like I was saying, with the Dunk the Funk moving into this layer, an era of production, what did you notice? Because sonically, it's so different, and there's so many leaps and changes musically and quality wise, and all this different stuff, and techniques, of course, that are used. But once you were getting into Eazy-Duz-It and Straight Out Compton and moving into No One Can Do It Better, how did you notice that the construction of the music had changed, and how did that affect you, if at all, as a writer?
Yeah, I think you really just talking about Dre's development, basically, like, because that's what I see it as. Now, Dre was always helped out by outside forces. But shit, Dre just got better, and he started feeling himself and trying new things and being really purposeful with what he was trying to put together. It's really Dr. Dre, bro. It was the Dr. Dre show the whole time. And if you know Dre, when he makes a beat, he makes it really visual, makes it really easy for a writer to write something that goes along with whatever's happening inside that beat he created. At least that's the way I looked at it. Q could always write great stories to it. Rain could always write great stories to it. I just tried to fit in that. And that developed, I think, when I came, it allowed Dre to stretch his his ear and tried different things because of the different ways I could respond to it. For lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah, because on Mind Blowing, on No One Can Do It.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.